Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Here we are working on this Yamaha blaster. It looks pretty much all complete, but we still have some engine problems with it. It's backfiring and it's creating some kind of exhaust pressure and it's popping and it revs up. Kind of hard to control the idle and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and do a full rebuild on the top end, and we're going to hone the cylinder, deglaze it. So basically here's the deglazer I got, which you can pick up at the auto store. They're like 36 bucks. I bought mine at Amazon for like 24 bucks. So we're going to go ahead and do some work on this baby and get this thing running, and hopefully we won't have that issue and hear this thing rip. So just like I said, we had this Yamaha blaster and I rebuilt the carb and kept cleaning it and everything. Has a full intake on here and a full FMF exhaust pipe, and what's going on, it was popping and stuff like that. So I went ahead and had the cylinder honed, so it looks really good now. Cleaned up all the burrs and stuff like that. It was looking pretty bad. Now we got it all good. Also, what I did, since I had the engine apart and I had access to a lathe, so I went ahead and I removed 0.9 of a mil, and then I created an arbor and I used a spark plug to hold it in the lathe. So I cleaned up this surface so it would be true to the shaft and the thread. And yeah, it worked pretty good. So it was rotating like this in the lathe. And yeah, removed 0.9 of a millimeter. So that's a good chunk. Should raise up the compression just a tad. We'll see how that goes. Also, when I took the Yamaha blaster engine apart, I noticed it has a hot rods crank in there, and I bought a Wiseco stock 66 millimeter piston with the whole kit. So it came with the Athens top end kit gaskets, and I bought the wrist pin bearing separately. I also went ahead and bought some exhaust couplings. So let's go check out the crank. So went ahead and cleaned out, adjusted the clutch, made sure that the clutch lines up with this arrow. This arrow matches up with that arrow, and it's perfect. So went ahead and checked out the crank, made sure that it's not moving up and down or anything, not moving side to side, and it's doing just fine. Also, there it is, the hot rods crank, and it's rotating perfectly. No any extra noises, just what you would want to hear in a healthy engine. So there we are. Now I'll be putting this back together. Also, maybe you would want to know how I honed it, and you want to do this every time before you rebuild it and put a new piston. So I just went ahead and bought this thing on Amazon, which was like 25 bucks or something like that. If you go to AutoZone, you'll pay like 36 bucks, around there. So I went ahead and bought it on Amazon, got shipped to the house, and which was pretty nice. And you put that in the drill and you just go up and down, creating a cross hatch about 45 degrees.
and then you end up with a nice looking surface. You basically deglaze the steel, which is a good thing, so that way the new piston will be breaking in perfectly. So we'll go ahead and put in a new spark plug in here. So let's get started and start assembling this engine. Peace. Alrighty, so here we are set up. The piston and all the components to put it together, the bolts to hold the cylinder, and those are the 6 bolts to hold the head. These will go on the head. Little washers. Also, this gasket kit was made in Italy. So I got the cylinder cleaned up, and I got my head sitting right here, ready to get bolted on. So let's start throwing the gaskets. Alright, first we'll start off with adding this dowel pin that goes over here, over this 8mm stud. Since this one's already there, but this one's missing. So we'll install that there. Also, we'll go ahead and start putting that on our gasket. These things, usually you can't put them on wrong because the cuts out right here are different. And then the holes are bigger on this side, so you can't put it on this way. And it's only one way. The sealant goes up. Not all of them have the sealant, so it doesn't really matter. But that goes on like that. And now we got our piston. So the arrow always out to the exhaust. And we'll grab our rings. And the rings have a number on there. Number or letter is always up. So a way that I install my pistons are, just grab it like this, tilt it up, and just slide it on just like that. Well, just like this. Pop right in place. Do the same thing to the other one. And the pistons have a groove on there with the little dowel pin in there. And that's where the gap piston ring goes. So it doesn't let it really rotate when it's compressed. They're about, I would say, 30 degrees apart. So that's ready. Now we gotta put the circlip in. So first of all, we'll put the circlip in on one side. So we'll put it on this side of the piston. And then we'll push the pin from this side, and then we'll install the second circlip on this side. So let's go ahead and do that. Which is very easy to install these circlips. Just be careful if they do spring away. You kind of watch where it goes. So like I said, arrow out to the exhaust. So we'll put it on this side. Then we'll just push one side in. Then we grab one side with this. You can do it with a flat or with any kind of screwdriver, and just slowly start carefully prying it in there. You'll hear it click in. So now we'll put some lubricating oil inside here, inside where the pin goes. And we'll install some, add some oil. Also, we need to install the needle bearing. So we'll add some 2-stroke oil on here, or whatever kind of oil lubricity you have. Time to slide this piston on. Set it on. Get our pin. Just like that. Now we'll grab our other circlip. Or C-clip. And put it in one side. And then push this other side in with a flat screwdriver or some kind of something that you can push it in. Just got to be careful not to scratch the piston, which you'll be all right. Nothing to be scared of. There you go. So that's on. Piston's ready to go. So we're going to drop it down in there a little lower. Now we got to lubricate our cylinder head. The cylinder. So we're going to add 2-stroke oil on the cylinder walls. Make it nice and smooth, easy installation. So the way that we don't end up scarring it on our first startup. Won't hurt to have extra oil. You just put it on there and just rub it. Just like that. Alright, now what you want to do is you guide it in by grabbing the piston, making sure the rings are in spot, and you just guide it in there by wiggling it lightly from side to side, just like that. Alright, and now since I didn't push that dowel pin in that goes on that threaded shaft, I have to kind of beat it on there. Not beat it, but just tap it very lightly. Doesn't take much. Now see, the cylinder doesn't rotate. So this is all ready. Everything's cleaned off. Everything's lubricated. Now we can throw some of these bolts on here. Piston is rotating really good. No any special surprises there. Nice. Okay, next thing we gotta do is we got this thing, just like that. Arrow pointing out to the exhaust. Since we cut the head and made a high compression head, we know that top dead center is right there, which is perfect. That means we have plenty of clearance. So we went ahead, machined it, and we know that the clearance is going to be there. We don't have to worry about it because it doesn't pass higher than the gasket. And we still have some room and a little lip right here, which is going to be perfect. Since this bolt right here is sticking out, we're going to go ahead and tighten it down some more. Whoever previously did this Didn't do it right. Didn't put it down any deeper. So we'll do that. You just double knot it, put nuts both ways, and then lock it off and spin it. So we'll drop the head just like that. Throw these washers. Not all the kits come with these washers, so don't worry about them. Just do what you got and use what you got. Don't stress over it. This is a blaster engine. Now putting these nuts on here, and before you know it, it's gonna be ripping. So stay tuned. We're gonna get this thing into the bike. Alrighty guys, so I got the engine put back together. It's back in the quad. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Turn the gas on. Pull the choke on. Let's give it a shot. So we'll go ahead and let it idle, do a first heat cycle on it, and then we'll start doing light revs on it 2 more times, and then we'll start lightly ripping on it. So here it is, ready to roll. Alrighty guys, I hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Peace.